The morning skies over Kyiv turned into a scene of chaos. Thick, black smoke filled the eastern horizon, and flames rose high above the left bank of the Dnipro River. Air raid sirens wailed non-stop as people rushed toward underground shelters. On October 25, 2025, the Ukrainian capital once again came under a massive Russian air assault. Initial reports indicated that Iskander-M ballistic missiles and dozens of Shahed drones were launched simultaneously from the Rostov and Kursk regions. Some were intercepted, but several broke through Ukraine's air defenses and struck targets inside Kyiv. Huge explosions rocked multiple districts, triggering a massive blaze on the city's left bank, an industrial area known for housing key energy and logistics facilities. But behind these events, both sides now tell very different stories about what really happened. The strikes began just before dawn, around 4 a.m. local time. According to Ukrainian outlets like Kyiv Independent and Ukrainska Pravda, air defenses managed to shoot down roughly 50 drones and 4 missiles, but at least 5 missiles and over a dozen drones still found their mark. Explosions were reported across 3 main districts on Kyiv's left bank: Desnyansky, Darnitsky, and Dniprovsky. Authorities confirmed at least 1 death and 10 injuries, including several children. Thanks to early warning systems and the population's quick response, casualties remained limited. Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko said emergency services were deployed immediately. Firefighters, medics, and utility workers labored through the night to put out the fires and restore power. Still, the entire left bank suffered a total blackout. Energy facilities were hit hard, plunging parts of the city into darkness for hours. Water pressure dropped, and several metro lines halted due to power loss. For the residents of Kyiv, this was more than just another explosion. It was a direct hit on their daily lives. The Ukrainian government reacted sharply. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the Russian strikes as acts of terror against civilians. He argued that attacks on power plants, water systems, and public infrastructure were deliberate attempts to make Ukrainians suffer as winter approaches. Zelensky accused Moscow of trying to paralyze Ukraine's energy grid while pressuring the world to bend to the Kremlin's political will. He again urged Western allies for concrete action, not just words of condemnation. Within hours, the U.S. and European Union issued strong denunciations and began drafting new sanctions targeting Russia's energy sector. They accused Moscow of weaponizing winter by striking the backbone of civilian life. Humanitarian groups such as the Red Cross and Amnesty International warned that prolonged blackouts and water shortages amid freezing weather could spark a new humanitarian crisis in Kyiv. According to them, the war has increasingly blurred the line between military and civilian targets. But Moscow firmly rejected all those accusations. The Russian Ministry of Defense released an official statement denying any attacks on civilians. Moscow insisted the airstrikes were precision operations using long-range weapons aimed at energy and transport facilities supporting Ukraine's military-industrial complex. According to Russia, facilities like Kyiv's largest power station, TEC-5, were legitimate military targets because they supply energy to arms factories and defense centers. All designated targets were hit with high accuracy, the statement said. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov emphasized that this was a direct response to Ukrainian drone attacks on oil refineries in Belgorod and Kursk. From Moscow's perspective, the strikes on Kyiv were a lawful response within modern warfare. Russian outlets such as TASS, Kommersant, and Lenta.ru quoted Duma member Andrei Kolesnik, who stated, "Russia does not strike civilian sites. Only industrial facilities that fuel Ukraine's war machine Moscow also claimed that reports of civilian casualties were Western media propaganda aimed at hiding the fact that most of the targets were ammunition depots, drone operator centers, and military supply hubs." In other words, Russia maintains it did not attack the Ukrainian people, only Ukraine's war capability.
Рада влупила, один за одним летів.
This attack marks a new escalation in the air war after several relatively calm months. Both sides now accuse each other of terrorist tactics, yet the targeting patterns reveal a focus on each other's strategic infrastructure: power plants, oil networks, and transport hubs. Military analysts note that Russia has once again ramped up the use of Iskander-M ballistic missiles, possibly signaling expanded production and replenished stockpiles. For Ukraine, the greater challenge lies not on the battlefield, but in maintaining its fragile national energy grid. Western nations pledged more aid. Thousands of additional air defense missiles from the UK and new anti-missile systems from Germany are on the way. Yet many observers believe such strikes will continue as every Russian attack now triggers Ukrainian retaliations across the border. The war has entered a new phase, one of strategic retaliation. Once again, Kyiv fights through darkness, not only from power outages, but from the uncertainty that overshadows its people. Each side stands firm in its narrative. Ukraine accuses Russia of deliberately targeting civilians, while Russia insists it is lawfully striking the enemy's war infrastructure. But one truth remains clear. Behind every explosion, civilians bear the invisible weight of a war that refuses to end. This video was created for documentary and analytical purposes. All visuals are illustrative or AI-generated reconstructions, with some verified open-source footage included for context. There is no endorsement or support for any party in this conflict. All information is presented solely for educational and public awareness purposes.